letting clients push your limits. Are you guilty of it, or is that something you've evolved past? Hello, hello. It's Brooke Devard, and you're listening to the Naked Beauty Podcast. And if you're here with us on YouTube, you are watching the Naked Beauty Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Sir John.
What's going on, guys?
Literally needs no introduction to the Naked Beauty family. You're a part of Naked Beauty.
What's up, cousins?
Yes. We're going to talk today about what's inspiring us, who we're becoming, what's been getting in our way, and the boundaries that are just really saving our lives right now. It's going to be a fun.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
But I feel like this is really, I mean, of course we love talking about beauty and glamour and all those things, but like just lifestyle and mental health is really your bag.
This feels good. It's timely too. You know, it's so timely, especially as we close out such a tumultuous year.
Yeah.
And before we close it out, we have to be mindful and present.
So our listeners will be hearing this at the top of 2026, which I feel like is always this time for like, do you do New Year's resolutions?
No, I try to be in that mind space daily, you know, of how to renew or be the best version of myself or declare better for me and what's for the team or whoever. I just feel like I can't wait until January.
I know.
January can't wait for me.
I love it. Well, I want to start with what's inspiring you right now.
Love. Wow. What's inspiring to me is the shared nurturing that our community has done organically this year. Radical self-care. It's so, you know, when we think about self-care, we think about, oh, I need to put a mask on, or I need to, you know, a wellness shot or a juice or hit the treadmill. But it's also discipline. It's also, you know, it's not that you don't want to feel. You want to have your full range of emotion. You want to feel everything, but how long are you going to feel that? How long are you going to let that bother you, upset you? And so we've been in a situation this year from the top down that has been so provocative and provoking to all of us. Mm-hmm. And I just love, for the first time, I'm just taking notes from the village on how not to be provoked or how not to fall into the traps or the ills.
Right. How to be like so triggered.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we had the chance earlier this year to speak to the Black employees at Spotify.
We did.
That was fun.
That was like 2 months ago, yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty recently,
Okay.
but just about navigating corporate spaces as a Black employee. And, you know, when you work with corporations, you're working with them in a very different capacity than someone that's, you know, an employee. But all of the same BS still applies, right? We all go through the same stuff of navigating, trying to show up as your authentic self, which I don't know if they really want Black people to show up as their authentic selves at work.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that we all can technically, we're not all going through the same thing. I have to say, some of us, you know, because some of us are doing the work to evolve. And so with that evolution, there's a spectrum. And so I'm going to get a different outcome when I'm doing the work, when I'm putting in the work, when I'm being more mindful, when I'm actually being more curious about what the team needs.
I meant that we're all going through the same thing in terms of if you are in a predominantly white workspace, whether you are the global creative director of Medicube, or you are an accountant, or you are an SVP.
Or an assistant,
an assistant. We're all going through a lot of the same BS when it comes to these corporate structures that weren't designed for us to thrive in.
Right. That's so true. And, you know, listen, and I know you know, because you've made a huge shift and change, a beautiful organic change, and flowered into a way that was so cool for the year that we've had. I'm so proud of you. You know,
thank you so much.
So I'm going to go back to your question, but I'm just so proud that you had a baby.
Yes.
A beautiful baby girl. I mean, you know, Mavi is 5 now.
Yes.
And you went and you've done a really cool thing work-wise, and you've been so expansive and have helped so many creatives and find home or energize what they want to say with their creativity. And I was a part of that.
Yes.
So I just wanted to let you know, shout out to Refinery 29, guys. We did that, right? Top of Fashion Week. But you know what? I was thinking about what you said just now, and you know, we can't always be our authentic selves in these spaces. I heard someone say this the other day. I didn't make this up, so this is. But I was mindful of what she said, and we shouldn't. And I was like, whoa! I'm waiting for the hook to find out why. And so because that's not the place for us to actually totally let our hair down.
It's not.
And so,
and the sooner you know that, the better.
You tell me that. So on your journey, you were in New York working for, was it
I
Instagram
was
or
working
something?
at Instagram, I
Yeah.
was working at Viacom CBS, I worked at Ralph Lauren, but this idea that you should bring your whole authentic self to work
Yeah.
is just false.
Yes, it is. But it's a misconception because we thought for a minute we were told we absolutely were not allowed to, and then we went on this, I want to say, rosy tinted lens, bohemian
Right,
idea
right.
of I'm going to be my full self. I'm going to be my most authentic self. Everything else is fake or it's not for me, and it's just not that way. And why? How would you break that down to in a practical way for, someone who's just getting out of college?
Yeah, I don't know if in the morning meeting on Friday morning, I need to know that you're hungover from the night before. Keep that to yourself. Keep that to yourself. And here's the thing.
That's true.
Do workplaces deserve our full authentic
Mm,
selves?
mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm.
your authentic self, it's almost like a sacred thing, right? Like
Yes.
still be yourself. I'm not saying to code switch or, misrepresent yourself, but I just don't think you need to show up A to Z,
Right.
the good and the bad of it's still a workplace at the end of the day.
Yeah. I love what you said just now. And if you don't have the ability to not code, it's not about code switch, it's not assimilating, but if you can't translate well, if you don't have the ability to edit what this room needs or read the room,
Yes.
then that's the work for you to do.
Right, right. Well, let's talk about translating a little bit because
Okay.
you've been working with the Koreans
Oh yeah, yeah.
and spending some time
So,
in South Korea,
babe,
which is like a totally different culture.
totally different from the
Um,
French. I've been with French
yeah,
companies for so
French
long.
companies. Now you're working with Korean
South
companies.
Africa.
What's that been like?
So one thing I love about Seoul is, they have this beautiful way of honoring heritage. And so heritage, and this is the thing, when we look at, when I'm always coming from a cultural lens, a black lens of when we look at our heritage, sometimes it's demonized. Sometimes our heritage isn't something we have to discover it. We have to go and find it because we've been separated from our heritage a bit. And so one thing I love about going to Seoul is it's in everywhere. It's in, even in the food that they have, they ferment their teas. Everything is about the belly. Everything is about the skin. So how can you regenerate yourself from the inside out? So it's almost like they cultivate their garden every day, every hour, between lunch breaks. And it's just a beautiful way that they fuse it into the culture. And I found that really cool. I found that really cool. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Is most of the Medicube team? I should explain the role you've been doing for the past year. Well, you should explain it. What have you been doing with Medicube?
So I'm their global creative director.
Amazing.
And so there's so many things going around, like what are creative directors these days, but helping this company translate into what it looks like to be an American company also, or what does it look like to have a multicultural audience, and for us to feel like we're on their radar is really important, not just to me, but it should be important to them, their CEO and their stakeholders as well. But that's kind of the goal. It's to take the idea of not just in diversity inclusion as a buzzword, but what does it look like for us to truly be an omnipresent brand, from comms to the copy to the way we see their advertising shot.
Oh my gosh. And they've just taken over TikTok. I mean, it's a brand that was like maybe on my radar like a little bit, and it has just exploded in the past
In the
year.
last year, right? It's
In the
crazy.
past year.
It's
So
crazy.
y'all are doing a great
Oh my
job,
God, just
whatever you're doing.
yeah, it's fun.
Back to the topic of what's inspiring us right now. Did you see, this is, again, people listening in January, this is going to be such old news, but Matthew Blasy's Chanel show that he just did in the subway yesterday.
So I saw it all over online, but I haven't dedicated time to sit down because we've been running around this morning.
Yes.
Tell me, so what was your takeaway? This is his first season, first collection.
Yes. The collection originally debuted in September.
Okay.
But just getting a close-up look at all of these bags, he's like, Chanel, we love Chanel. It's a classic house, but it's kind of old, dusty, fussy. Like it's not...
It's fallen short for a while.
Exactly. The way that I'm like craving these bags, loving the silhouettes, like just excited about Chanel again, it just showed me like you can have an old house that's like hundreds of years old.
Yes.
And someone can come in with like a really keen sense of style and direction and just reinvigorate something A to Z.
Well, and these are also champagne problems. He was coming into the brand.
Right. The brand, right. And he did his thing on Bottega Veneta and made Bottega Veneta really hot and desirable. But it just like just seeing his work just reminds me like there's true great creative talent. When we see it, we can like feel it. That's how I felt when I saw Sinners.
Yes.
Ryan Coogler's movie. Like I was just sitting there in the theater like, wow, like this is art, you
It's
know?
art.
Like thank God. And we all
Yes.
felt it and we all got excited and it was like
It was
we're all talking
dissecting it on TikTok.
right, because it's
Yeah.
like thank God that some people are still out here doing great creative work.
Amen to that. And but I always say this is what I was talking about. I went to Qatar recently for Fashion Trust Arabia.
Yeah, we
Qatar
saw.
creates.
You were out there living the life of a sheikh. It's
And-
very fabulous.
Thank you, baby. But you know what's really interesting? And during these times, when you look at times that are tumultuous, when you look at, I think about the 60s. So I can't compare any, this reminds me of like the late 60s, Woodstock, you know, civil rights movement, when there was so much change and so much of a divide in not just class, but in generations.
Hmm.
But the music and the art and everything got better.
Yeah.
The soul got better. So I'm waiting for that renaissance, if you will. Cliche to say renaissance, but we're waiting again for that resurgence of the art. And so my question to you, thinking about inspiration, do you feel like this media frenzy or, you know, obsessed society that we live in, has that killed art in some way when everything is translated immediately?
No, I think it's still there. I think it's still there. I just read a really interesting article about how years that like end in six have always been these big cultural movements. So like
Really?
1996 was like this really big year for like pop music.
Right.
1926 was like a really
Neo soul too.
Okay, yes, Neo Soul. Shout out to D'Angelo, rest in peace. 2026 is like slated to be this like big year of like cultural reinvention. Yeah, I think there's absolutely still an appetite. And because we are exposed to so many things that are so mindless, like the amount
So
of
true.
brain rot activity online, when you see something truly great,
Yeah.
it like really sticks with you.
Okay. But
Yeah.
okay, so when I'm going to give you a push, does it though? So and I hate to say this because our attention spans have become like goldfish. Right?
I know.
So when something, and I was having a conversation with Geralra and some other, like, you know, Lacey Redway, a few other really amazing editorial hairstylists who work in a business at the top of their game. And they were like, when we do a cover, when you did a cover, amazing cover or a campaign or an advertising job and it hit the market or it would last a bit. It would last a little while.
Right.
But even music. So I'm wondering, do you think that, how do we keep that sacredness of holding art or the things that we experience to our heart and not get it washed away with, you know, the immediacy?
I think it's in how the people that consume the art cherish it.
Okay.
And I think about, you know, I was just looking at my January 1990 issue of British Vogue.
Yeah. Who was on the cover?
I mean, all of the supers.
Oh,
It's
January. Okay.
Naomi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that famous Peter Lindbergh
Peter Lindbergh.
shot.
Yes.
Cindy, Naomi, Christy Turlington.
Orbe on hair.
Yes. I mean, it's just like the most fabulous image ever. But that's an issue that I cherish. I have like these old issues of like Vogue from the 90s that I still cherish. I always listen to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yes.
It's like,
Ooh.
it's on repeat.
Spice Girls too.
Right, listen, Spice Girls. I love the Spice Girls
Me
so
too.
much. Even I was just listening to Channel Orange, Frank Ocean's first album.
man. Never-
which
always
when
in
did that
rotation.
come out? It came out a long
Yeah.
time ago,
Yeah. Wow.
but I'm still listening to it like it
Okay.
came out yesterday.
Yeah.
So I feel like great art
Yeah.
to me. Okay, it flashes by, you like it on Instagram,
Yeah.
but it's like, do you go back and re-engage? That to me is like my
Ooh.
barometer,
That's a good test. I like
Yeah.
that. Do you go back and re-engage
right?
with the art
Like the movies that you go back and rewatch and the documentaries that you revisit.
or makeup trend?
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
it could be a pair of pumps that, you know,
Yes, yes.
I like this. Okay, I'm going to use that now. I'm going to use that.
I want to talk about setbacks,
Tell me. Yeah, yeah.
difficult stuff.
But I love everywhere you took us earlier. We were ideating, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Just about like, hey, what are we going to talk about? I haven't seen you in a little while. And so it's so organic. I love that. I love sitting down with you, right? So, because I love your mind and you have you have this Beyonce way of smiling through anything. I've seen you uncomfortable, you're still smiling. Like I've seen you tired. I've seen you with labor pains.
Oh my God, I know. You really
And you were
have seen
cheesing.
the full spectrum.
But so tell me, take me through there.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about something. I mean, it's happy, but it's not that happy.
Oh yeah.
Setbacks we've had this year.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
I can share as well.
So my biggest setbacks have been outside in, right? And so when I say setbacks, this has been a really challenging year for my mental health and of what's happening outside my doors. And so just not understanding how to process every time I turn on television. And so I had this weird obsession with in my office and at home, keeping the news on. I was fixed into it, even though it's not good, I should turn it off. And seeing what this man can get away with that no one else can, and the violent attacks that this that are normalized
Mm-hmm.
for that. I just see humanity in a different way, and I've seen evil this year. I've seen some true evil, and it doesn't feel good, but I'm learning how to deal with it, and still keep my joy, and still keep, as an artist, you can't lose that sense of what inspire. You have to inspire the people, but you have to have that little ball of light that stays lit. And so, how do you keep your light illuminated in such a dim time?
Yeah. How does it manifest for you when you feel like you're overexposing yourself to difficult news?
It manifests in my temper gets not temper, but I get a little shorter in terms of like I usually am always able from a like law of attraction standpoint or vibrational alignment to go back to get into a really good space. My success depends on me being in a really good mental space, emotionally, or being 10 toes down. And so I'm just noticing that this atmosphere, it's almost like, if you guys can picture this, it's like a frequency that's killing the flies or killing the bees.
Yeah.
So this frequency is not good for the bees. It's not.
No, I hear you. And to your point earlier about smiling through things, I don't know if people realize like how on we have to be.
Oh yeah.
You can't really have an off day. You can't really have a day. Maybe you can have like maybe a day, an off day.
A day.
One day, a single 24 hours, and then it's like, get back on it. But pretty much every day, you've got to like film, you've got to be on, you've got to be at an event, you've got to be on a Zoom, you've got to.
And you have to also have new clothes at times.
Let's really talk about
like
the amount of effort and time it takes to pull together a look to simply show up somewhere.
I don't think people, at some point, Brooke, I had to talk to my agents or people. I'm like, you guys know I have to work, right?
Right.
I'm not a trust fund kid. I'm a hustler. Like, I can't just, everything you guys send me to can't just be, show up and.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's a cost and monetary cost and heavy time cost associated with showing up to something, right? Like, I didn't wake up like this. I wish I did.
No, I mean, you do look good though right now.
Right.
Sis.
But there has been work done to get me to this point. You know what I mean?
That was good. I like that.
But yeah, you show up, you're going to walk the carpet. You've got to, and here's the thing, I feel like you and I are like I never want to use budget. You know how much stylists are. To pull a single look for an appearance is, we should tell people the number.
Yeah, tell them.
3,500 to up to like 7,000.
And that's
for one look.
For women, it's going to be much more because I don't have any hair, guys.
Yeah.
And I can do my own makeup.
No, I just mean just for the clothes.
Or for the clothes. And that's without alterations. Because wait a minute, if you alter, do you keep the clothes?
Yes, at that point. Or sometimes they can do like these like little tiny things that can be reversed.
Tuck in. Okay.
But yeah,
and
that's without the clothes.
Yeah, I buy now. So
Thank you.
I love my stylist. Shout out to all the stylists I know. We've had Law on the show.
Oh my gosh, no. I'm obsessed with what they do.
with what they do, but I take that inspiration.
Yeah.
And I'll go right to Suit Supply. Or I have this amazing Turkish tailor, so I would invest in my closet instead of investing in day rates.
Yes.
And I say that in full support of my brothers and sisters who work in the same adjacent careers as I do.
Yeah, no, and what they charge is worth it because they have to deal with figuring out all of the clothes, all of the samples, trafficking the samples, bringing them to you, putting them on a rack, presenting them to it's a lot of like manual labor to put together a look. But yes, a lot
of stylists also make these girls' careers. Like we're personalities in a different way, but when you're an actress, the stylists have become so powerful because they are the gateway for you to get a fashion campaign. They're the gateway for a designer to see you, Cynthia Erivo and Jason Bolden.
Yes.
I mean, Law and Zendaya.
But like you, rather than pay someone $4,000 to pull a look for me on top of the clothes, just give me those $4,000. I'll go to Neiman Marcus. I'll find something fabulous.
And guess what? Gonna love it even more.
Yeah, and also I'm not gonna pay $4,000. I'm gonna be
with 4K. You can take that and flip it.
Right. Well, also I'm like a deep sale. You and I need to do Palm Springs outlet together. We need to do the Palm Springs outlets together.
Yes,
the designer outlets, because I'm like, you never even have to buy anything full price.
Oh man, the YSL one out there is beautiful. Yeah, I'm here for it.
We gotta go.
I'm so here for it.
We gotta go. We got so off track. We
No.
were talking about setbacks, and here we are.
And so we were talking about setbacks. we were talking about
Just
how
like
when you have to show up.
every day.
So I have this thing I always tell people, and so I don't know if anyone else has to do this, but and can you tell me what the people who work with you or who are younger than you, how do you feel about this? But I have to always show up, guys, on Zooms with my camera on. So I can't every time when I have a Zoom, I go to my office. I'm lit really well. I'm lit for the gods. It's like
Your
it's like
lighting setup for your Zoom
it's
is
like
incredible.
Madison Square Garden lit.
Yes.
I can but I feel like, damn. So when did I get into a space where is it because every day of like work for me is kind of the first day of school when I'm meeting new clients and meeting new teams, and I love people. I love people.
Yeah.
But if I just come on the Zoom and don't have my camera on, they're gonna want to reschedule. They're waiting for me to emote or give them an idea or take them somewhere, or actually, they want to feed into. They want to be entertained in a way.
Yeah.
And so, did I do that, or is that something that you do that? Or?
I'm very pro cameras on.
Okay, me too.
Because it's just like we're working together. Like, let's see each other. Now, I do have to, like, I had a meeting today that started at 6 a.m.
Oh.
A lot of my team is on the East Coast.
Oh, true.
If my boss or my big boss schedules something, like, and I need to be there, I'm going to figure out a way to be there. So my rule is if the meeting happens before 8:30, I'm camera off. Because I really, truly am.
Sense.
I'm like with the baby, like I just
that.
can't. I just can't with the
It's
camera
healthy.
on. Yeah, it's 7 a.m. It's too much.
That's healthy.
It's too much.
And also, that's too much for your husband too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it is though good. So many people are working remote. Like it's like at the least at the end of the day, it would be nice for us to like just see each other like eye to eye.
That's true.
And also, I feel like everyone's looking at their own little Zoom square. They're not looking at right. Do you look at other people? I'm like, you know what I mean.
So
but you're not judging.
I started, and this is the first time I've ever said this. First time I've ever said this. But when we started Zooming, I started having anxiety attacks. So like serious. And, and also I talked to my therapist. I didn't know what it was at first. And so I'm so used to doing like master classes or being around, talking on stage or being with people that my therapist said it's not natural or healthy for me even to just have this transactional, so all of a sudden I have 30 squares, don't know anyone. I can't read any data. I can't see if they're leaning in, if they're crossing their legs, if they're even curious about what I'm talking about. And so I don't have any of the emotion that I'm used to getting back from people. And so that was kind of a thing where my head would be outside of my body kind of racing, like what is everyone
else
doing and thinking. And so in that space to save me, I would put up just myself. And I could talk to me all damn day long, but
pin screen. It's just you.
But I worked through it, and I realized I have a breathing coach now. Her name is Cece, and she taught me so much about breath and how to breathe through conversations. It's almost like, hey guys, I want to go on a hike somewhere. Hey guys, I want to go on a hike. Like lead with your breath and speak with your breath. And that's because I was so shallow breathing, I didn't know, and so I started really breathing through my diaphragm.
Yeah,
I didn't even know I had a diaphragm. I did.
Yeah, no, it's. You have to like learn how to breathe.
Yeah.
I spent so much time with my trainer over the past year focused on breathing to prepare me for labor. And my labor was 10 minutes. And I was like, was it all of the breathing exercises we did?
You had a 10-minute labor?
10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
15 tops.
Wow.
Which is insane.
That's insane. That's just superhuman.
I know. But it was a lot of breathing.
What do you think about the younger generation? I was having a conversation with a friend who I really respect. And his brother works for him. And so we all employ, most of us do, younger people. We hope that they're faster, smarter, and they can do things that we can't do. Do you feel that, so I look at when I see them on, this is going to be a controversial opinion, when I see them on Zooms, and it doesn't matter if they're on my team, someone else's team, an agency, whatever, I am so used to emitting some personality when I'm on Zoom or smiling or being a little bit more present for the client. And so when I see 22 or 25-year-olds just sitting there looking bored, you know how I feel? I feel like you got to be a fucking rock star. You got to be really great to look unenthused.
Okay, and so you continue the thought.
To be unenthused, to sit there like, I'm not really impressed. You should be really impressive. You should have done some work or something that when you're not even looking like I'm curious to what this speaker or this person or the boss, the big boss has to say. that is not necessarily a good sign, I would say, of a team. So I have a thing where when I talk to all of the youth, because I have so many younger creatives who look up to me, who always ask me for advice, look enthused, look enthused, look like you are curious, look like you're going to figure out a way, maybe send back or ask the person one more question about something that they said earlier, so they know that you're in dialogue with them truly. Because if you're not inspired, you get sacked. Around my space, if you're not inspired by with the work that I'm doing or anything that's adjacent to it, you got to go. That's the space that we should all be in. No one should be taking up space if they're not adding energetic lava, if you will, to the ground floor. That's just how I feel.
Yes. Okay, so you haven't heard of the Gen Z stare? It's a whole thing that people talk about. It's like this dead-eyed. It's like a dead-eyed. It's like you'll go to get like your little matcha and you're like, oh, can I get him? And they just like stare at you, deadpan.
Really? This a thing?
It's a thing. It's called the Gen Z stare.
I had no idea. Okay.
It's like and people are like, is it their like processing or like buffering time? Like what's going on? People have noted this as a phenomenon. I think that you and I have probably come up in a time where working is a form of theater. It's a form of performance, right?
Yeah.
So you have to, it's not enough to be interested. You have to show that you're interested, right?
Yeah.
You have to ask an additional question because it's like you're getting another line into the play, right? You're you're representing for your character.
I love that.
And I think that
that's good.
Younger people coming up aren't invested in like, they're like, I just want to do the work and like go home. Like, I don't need to put on this fake act.
Yeah.
But I think you do.
But when you feel like you don't, you won't get in the doors that you won't walk through great doors unless you're a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
but you won't be invited back.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. I've had a year where I've just realized that like your health is the most important thing. Wow. And when your health is compromised, nothing matters.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. How has your physical health been this year?
So wait a minute, you're such a young woman. That's such an old woman. That's old school.
It is. Well, like I didn't even plan to get into it, but I was diagnosed maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago with Graves' disease.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
It affects your thyroid. It's like hyperthyroidism. Wendy Williams has it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's.
Is there a spectrum of?
I have it pretty, like it was severe. Like when they found it, they were like, oh my gosh, like how have you been operating like this?
Brooke, okay,
wow. Yeah, so I have to take it like much easier. I have to keep my stress down. I'm on medication now.
Does that affect, where does that have a trickle down effect outside of?
The medication's helping a lot, which is great. It's like before you get diagnosed, when you're not feeling 100% and you just like have all these symptoms. I was so hot, I was sweating. I didn't feel good in my body. And so I was going to all of these doctors and they were like, we need you to do like hormone tests and we want you to see an endocrinologist. And then we got all of my labs back and it was like, yeah, like you have hyperthyroidism. You have like a I did a ultrasound. They're like, you have an extreme case of Graves' disease and like you need to go on medication immediately. So yeah, I have an amazing doctor now.
It's amazing that you caught it.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes, which is also another lesson for people. Like if you feel like something's even a little bit off in your body, even a little, because I had two doctors kind of rationalize it. They were like, well, you're postpartum, you just stopped breastfeeding. Like they were kind of like,
And I hate that usually that happens often also to Black women specifically.
It does. And it was me that was like, no, something's still not right.
Yeah.
Like I want to see a specialist. I want to do blood work.
You know your body.
Yes, you know your body. You know your body. So yes, although
men aren't the same way though.
You don't think so? You don't think they're as in touch with their bodies?
We ignore signs that you guys won't, because naturally our bodies don't really talk to us the same way monthly or in other ways. You guys give birth and so we have to be. Sometimes our fucking arms have to be hanging off. or chronic pain in the same area. Like for example, I think when you asked me about my health, but like my stomach, sometimes I'm having like stomach issues. So I'm like, let me just, first of all, back in the day, they would say, get some ginger ale and just
lie down somewhere.
But I take so many holistic things, and but also I'm from the mind state of your body. You can heal your body with your mind. You're gonna send it frequency of I'm more sick or whatever that looks like. Even the fear possibly can induce more inflammation. So I have to check out my belly is what I want to say. Yeah.
Yes, you should.
All
You
right.
should.
Yeah.
And inflammation was one of the things that showed up in my labs. So now I'm like, I'm being, for the first time ever, which is such a shame to say at my big age of 36, I'm really trying to not eat like garbage. Like I'm like the sugar, the processed sugar in my diet, like it's had to go. It has to go. I can't have
You didn't eat
a
that
donut
bad, though.
or a cookie. No, but you have
You
little
splurge.
sweets here and there,
Yeah.
but I can't do, it's just like, that's just not good for my body. So for the first time, I'm like really on my your body is a temple, and I actually, the thing that triggers my symptoms more than anything is stress. So even I was supposed to be in Art Basel right now, but it's like, you've seen my travels. I've been traveling every single, and I'm like, I can't go from London to New York to Miami,
And then back.
and then back.
Yeah.
And then, I've got my babies and so I'm trying to take it much easier.
Wow.
From a health standpoint and stress. I can't get myself stressed out.
And your body will stop you. Your
Yes.
body will stop you when it's
Yes.
time to stop. But no, shout out to the guys, man. I think that we should listen to the ladies because we don't really listen to our bodies in the same way. I don't know.
I know. Get your stomach checked. I'm worried for you now.
No, I'm not worried. I'm good.
Okay.
All is well.
Yeah. But do you have a good doctor?
I do, and I have a really great doctor in New York too. But I should just go. I'm just gonna go to the one I have here.
I think that's the other thing. There's this girl that I follow on Instagram. Her whole page is about ADHD, tasks that people put off because they think it's going to be so complicated.
Hi guys.
Yes.
That's so me.
Right. And she puts a timer up and it's okay, clearing out this junk drawer. She's been putting it off for
3 years.
7 years. And it takes her 7 minutes to clear it. And then one of the things she did was she was like, I've needed to go to a dentist for 3 years. And I just haven't
Oh wow.
Called to schedule it because it's just it's that ADHD paralysis where it's just overwhelming.
It's the finishing of it.
Right.
You have the idea,
right?
But you need to have someone else manage it. Sometimes,
right.
like a husband or a girlfriend or
I know
somebody.
So she showed how she booked her dental appointment in 30 minutes, and but sometimes even when you have a suspicion that you have a health thing, it's the overwhelm of finding a doctor.
Yeah.
Going through the medical system and
God.
don't even get insurance involved. It's too much.
Babe, I sound nuts right now talking about I haven't yet figured out the stomach thing I was talking about, which is probably nothing. But I can tell you about every fucking dermatologist in New York or Manhattan.
Period.
Every cosmetic dentist.
Where to get Botox.
Where and have sat for them.
Right.
Isn't that toxic?
Right. And made time for it. Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
shit.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's crazy.
Or even wanting to
That's
pay,
embarrassing.
right? Okay, I want to see this doctor. They're out of my network. It's a great doctor though, but it's going to cost this much money. But it's I wouldn't blink twice about buying a new bag.
Or a trip.
Or a trip.
Yeah, for me, it
but
would
it's
be a
it's your health. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
That's so true. But my body's going to be here. This bag is on sale. My body's going to be here, but I do want to go to Bermuda.
Right.
But man.
Right. Yeah. No, it's I think that's been a huge lesson for me this year. And yeah, just going through postpartum, all your body changes, your health needs to be your number one.
Wow. How long does
priority
postpartum last? Just curious, any range.
It ranges. Some people say it's 2 years
Oh, wow.
before all of your hormones
Are back.
get back to where they should be.
Okay.
But it's definitely the first year.
Definitely for sure. Wow.
Should we play? I want to play
Let's do it.
Boundaries Bingo.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay.
John, welcome to Boundaries Bingo.
Woo, 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 woo. Let's
This
go
is
for
the
it.
game where we find out just how healed we really are.
Oh man.
So okay, I'm
only as healed as I am. If someone's provoked, if you provoke me, I'm not healed anymore.
right. I
But
know.
no, we can play this game.
You're a sweet Cancer, but you're a don't test me Cancer.
I'm a retired crash out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will go there if you were brought there. Okay, so I'm gonna give you classic boundary fails,
Ooh,
and you let me
I love
know
this. Okay.
if you are guilty,
Okay.
growing, or if it's a girl I would never. Okay.
Oh, okay. This is fun.
The first one is saying yes when you really meant no.
I'm guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you say yes when internally you know it's a no?
I think I grew up, I had to learn that when I had to learn hard really until I want to say the last 5 years or so. Because I grew up feeling like a part of my value was in showing up or giving or services to other people. Love me. I went through a lot of shit as a child. So like you feel like you showing up, or the love that you need to deserve, or you deserve actually, is because of something that is not just by you existing or living. So I have not been a people pleaser, but I say yes, and it always fucks me over in the end. Not always, but sometimes I'll say yes, and I know that it'll put me into a bad situation, or I don't have the time to make it happen, and I'll make it happen, and I'm the only one suffering. So I would say that is something that I wanted to. I'm still learning how to stand on that, and it's not comfortable. So what I also do is I'll just ghost people if it's this is toxic. This is my toxic trait. If it's uncomfortable for me to say no, I can't respond, because I just don't want to disappoint,
Yeah.
That's
No,
all.
I get it. I feel like I've witnessed it myself where like you want to be in so many places at the same time. Like when we were in Fashion Week, you really wanted to go to like Ugo's thing. And
Yes,
then
yes.
I think you were like slated to speak at some other event for the Black Beauty roster. Like you had like 12 commitments all at the same time. And you were like, kind of like, yeah, I want to.
Yeah,
But then like day of, you were like, actually, like I can't
right.
make it across town because like
It's not possible even.
not physically possible for me to
Yeah,
be there. But like I see in your heart, you always want to say yes to
I
everything.
do, and also, I don't have so many people around that I don't really care about. So that's the work that I have done. Anyone who I'm around, or who I'm like adjacent to, really in any way, I really do care about.
Yeah.
And so, if and in that space, one thing I had to also think about, in sometimes my darkest hour, is like, who's also showing up for you in that way? Does
Mhm.
anyone sacrifice their comfort, their time, for me? And it doesn't have to be transactional, but I think that we should do inventory in those ways.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Texting back immediately.
Oh, nah, hell no. I'm so guilty, guys. I'm on house arrest.
But you don't text back immediately.
It's not that I don't text back immediately. I mean to text back, but
Yeah.
I'll look at it, but at times, there's two things that could come to mind. Peep this, right? It's like, either I'm busy and I can't engage, and you're going to give me a paragraph and you're going to need some data back.
Yeah.
And I can either give you a one-liner or two.
Yeah.
So I either say, I'll call you back, and I just know I can't, I forget to call back, possibly. But sometimes it's just like, I just can't deal with this right now.
I know. I feel like the audience needs to know that you are like a voice note. Like,
Oh yeah.
you are like the king of voice notes.
Everybody
Like
says that.
when we first met, I was like, I was like, why does he keep sending me voice notes? And now it's just such a natural way of communicating
It
with you. I
is.
just like expect it. But like, I love your voice notes. When I get like multiple voice notes,
Yeah.
that's like, ooh, I'm getting a little surge on podcast. I like put them all on and I just go about my day and I'm like
I
listening to all
love
your.
them.
But I
love voice
actually
notes. Yeah.
don't like voice notes from anyone else but you.
Oh,
I love your voice notes.
okay. Thank you, babe.
I don't know if everyone needs to voice note, but your voice notes are always great.
Thank you. And also, I like voice notes back from people,
Okay.
especially because in LA, I'm driving
Yeah, you're
sometimes.
driving. Yeah.
And so it's just so much easier to like chirp somebody. Remember Nextel?
Trip back.
Yeah.
Okay. Working on days off.
What does that mean?
So you've told yourself,
Yeah.
okay, I'm taking a long weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation. I'm gonna go out to Palm Springs. I'm gonna take like actual like vacation time. Or yeah, you're just saying like I'm gonna take Monday off as a personal day.
Mhm.
But then something comes up, you get
Mhm.
an email, someone needs you last minute, it's a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you cancel on your day off?
So if I go on vacation, I know for sure there's nothing on my calendar. And if there is an important Zoom, I'll keep it. I'll honor that. So if,
Okay.
it may be 2 Zooms in that 5-day period, or 3,
Okay.
but don't schedule anything. I'm looking at anyone else crazy who's on my team. Why the fuck is this here? But so there's nothing new going into it. But I also have a thing where I love my weekends. We've grown up in this business, and I have given my entire life to clients, to the ones and it's not always a reciprocal relationship. So, and they'll take as much of your energy and your time as you can possibly give. And I've seen it drain so many of my peers to negative spaces, to mental health, to the fact that they've neglected their children,
Mhm.
because celebrities will just take your time. And so I don't work on weekends. And if you get me, Larry Sims said this, shout out to Larry. He said, if you actually see me working on a Saturday morning, or if you see me working before 5 on an early call time on a Saturday morning, I got a lot of money.
Yeah.
The rate was crazy and I couldn't, fucking love the person who I went and showed up for on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sunday is a big hell no.
Yeah.
Sunday is sacred. It's the dial down. It's, it's a restful thing. What about you?
I work all the time on days I'm supposed to have off.
Okay, so clarify days you're supposed to have off.
Like
Weekends?
or like I'll schedule like a PTO day. Like, okay, I actually have been just like working back to back. I have all these vacation days I'm supposed to use this year. I'll schedule it and like someone on my team will need me. I'll have to jump on a quick emergency Zoom. Like
Okay.
I'll just be like, let me just send that one email and I don't take the day off.
Okay, so I want to give you just a little bit of, so I like that because that's really interesting because a lot of people who are creatives or who work for themselves or founders, we don't know what I've never heard
Yeah,
of a
PTO
PTO.
is like that's a very like corporate structure.
It is, and it probably comes with benefits.
Yes,
But
yes, yeah. You get a certain amount of days every year that you can take as paid time off.
okay, and then also in your vacation, so I think we're similar in a sense. What like if you went on vacation, you were on vacation, you went on a beautiful vacation to where did you go?
Grand Cayman?
The Cayman Islands. The one before that was it Cayman Islands?
Cayman Islands, I
Okay,
think.
and so
Ibiza?
yeah, so
Yes.
that one,
Yes.
so when you were in Spain,
Yes.
Balearic Islands, I believe, right? Did you feel like also completely different time zone? So
Yes.
everyone's in bed,
But
kind of.
I still worked. I had those beauty awards
Oh,
where I had to like
yes, you
get on
did.
a
Okay,
Zoom,
yeah,
present an award to someone.
right. And so that was scheduled before you jumped on a flight.
Oh yeah, I mean it was like probably on my calendar for 3 months.
Okay, so I think we're in the same place. We honor the
Yes.
prior commitments.
Yes.
We can make time for them, but nothing new and no surprises.
Yes. And I don't have any desire to check my email. I'm not like, oh, I gotta check my email.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
You
who
plugged
cares?
off. Yeah.
I don't care about me.
They would have to text you to find you.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Doing an appearance or doing glam or showing up to something even if you're sick and not feeling well.
Ooh, that's serious. So I'll go back to first. Before I was doing any appearance of anything, before anybody wanted to see my face, I was a servant to talent, to stars, or
Right.
the people. And so if you're sick, I would have to be really sick to call off. And some of the
And
time,
how sick? Because I feel like you kind of can't be sick. Like you kind of can't
Yeah,
call off. I
yeah.
mean, how sick
Honestly,
would you have to be? Have you had to do that?
I have two times that I couldn't make it, and they understood. Right. So one time, we were, and also we are always so scared we're gonna get our clients, our women, our girls, sick. So we are hyper.
Right. You've
We're
got
always
a
washing our hands.
mask
If we
on.
feel
Yeah.
a sneeze coming on, we're trying to take something. We're trying to not even sniffle around our clients because they would be get them out of here. So I remember I was in Australia. We were in Sydney. We were filming the self-titled album, and I'm in this video driving her Beyonce around. Actually, it's called I forgot which. No Angel.
Oh wow, you're
And
driving in that car?
yeah, I'm in the black car with a black hoodie, black baseball cap, and she's leaning out the window.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah,
Wait, I literally need to rewatch this. I
yeah,
did not
totally.
realize that was you.
And so I cracked. So I had some back issues, and I literally couldn't. It was like pinching nerve. It was
Mm.
it was the most painful thing. I couldn't even breathe in deep,
Mm.
but I felt like something was trying to puncture my lung. But it was really my ribs needed to be cracked or whatever that was. And my tears were running down my eyes. I was in so much pain, and I was trying to not show it.
Oh my
And so
god.
she's like, "What's wrong with him? Like, what's up? What's up?" She was talking to Ty at the time,
Yeah.
and Ty's like, "Oh, child, his back, he threw his back out." And so she, got me a physio. She got me someone in, and
Oh,
it
amazing.
cracked my back. It lit up like the 4th of July. But I felt so much ease. But in that moment, I didn't even want to ask for help. I just felt like I got to get this done. Everyone's gonna look at me like,
Right.
like I can't let the team down. So
Wow.
you'll go in literally with your leg hanging off.
Right.
And then the next time I have to tell this story. Shout out to this, R.I.P. But I was booked for British Vogue cover. There's a pre-light day you have to do. So pre-light day is you go in, you start to set everything at work info. This is what Raphael shot for the British Vogue cover. It's beautiful. And so Joelle was doing hair. I get a phone call the night before the pre-light that one of my best friends, his name is AJ Crimson, drowned and passed away. And
I'm
he's
so
amazing.
sorry.
Everyone, you guys, if you guys are fans of beauty and makeup, you should know who AJ Crimson is. And so he was just such a integral part of my life for so long. And he was my first agent. He taught me everything in the game. He he had these amazing lines. He was a founder before, way before founders, Kissable Couture. And so say his name, right?
Yes.
And so we deal with death in a weird way. All of us deal different with grief. And so when I found out, I was shocked, but I didn't know how to process it. I wasn't processing. I didn't cry. I was just like, I didn't. So the next morning on my way to work for the pre-light, which is, you have to be there. This is British Vogue, guys. All of the editors, you guys know what this gives.
Yes.
And so Beyonce's, Julia's there. Everyone's going to be there, right? And so Yvette, so I'm in the shower and I just started bawling. Like uncontrolled, it hit me, the gravity of, I lost my friend, and so, and I'm talking about ugly cry, So I called my agent and I was like, I just don't know what to do. I just don't know how to do this, And so, and I called Jawara, I called, Yvette, and everyone was like, we totally understand. Like, this is one of those times when, guess what? Call it. And I felt so protected. I felt safe.
Yes.
Because to go in that day would have really been so destructive for me internally,
What you're saying reminds me of a quote that I heard once that said, treat everyone as though they're grieving. Meaning,
wow. Ooh.
Everyone around you could be in the process of grieving or is in the process of grieving something or someone or a pet or a,
loss.
Yes. Yeah. And unfortunately, when you do lose people, you have to still wake up the next day and do things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And also and no one has a playbook for it, So that is one thing I would say to anyone who happens to have the ability to take a moment, taking a moment for yourself. We're talking about these micro moments. Take that moment, man. Take that moment.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you for letting me touch. I forgot all about that story, man. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's a really powerful story. And I'm so happy that they gave you the space to grieve.
Yeah.
Okay. Letting clients push your limits. Are you guilty of it, or is that something you've evolved past?
Got the villain laugh. I'm like a classic. I'm Prince Charming, and I'm a classic Disney villain as well. But aren't they both? Aren't all villains always like,
Listen, they're two sides.
Didn't they always come from good intentions or something? I don't know. So what's the question again? Sorry.
Letting clients push your limits.
Guys, I feel really blessed. I'll just say that I'm extremely, extremely respectful. I'm the most diplomatic person on set. Hands down. It's my thing. It's my calling card. And also I care so much about other people. So when someone infringes or makes me feel uncomfortable, I don't play it down or I don't make it, because I know I admit and I give so much and I'm so thoughtful. I'm so curious about how can this team win? How can I make you happy? And I'm old school. I was trained as an old school person. So if you dip, I dip, we dip. And I say that because also that's Harlem in me too. I've been so many times when I think about how people taking me out of the box, doing the work looks like you might feel some way and you're allowed to feel all of your emotions to full range, but not for long, And so I don't necessarily, I don't yell. I can't really raise my voice like that. My mom, I grew up in a loud house, but I don't know how to yell, but I'll be disappointed and you'll feel the heat. You will feel it in that motherfucking room. I also have a really beautiful way. I love dialogue. So when I'm being challenged, I'm going to get really calm and I'm going to take you into a place. I might provoke you, but I'm not going to yell. Right. I'm going to push you.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to push your ass.
Right.
But this is I'm going to be your sparring partner here for you to know what you're doing is unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Yes. No, I think that there's so much to be said for standing up for yourself without coming out of your character.
Advocate.
Yeah, advocating for yourself.
And also so many people I was in New York and we were on set. Sorry, I keep talking about these jobs and stuff. And so this younger makeup assistant, she was like, "Sir John, I wouldn't have known how to handle that situation on set when you have to go up to Stephen Meisel or Mario Testino and tell them you don't like the lighting for this black woman or whatever." And it's diplomacy. If you understand how to be a diplomatic conversationalist or in dialogue, it's really everybody wins, right? But sometimes don't lose the thug in you. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna need her or him.
Straight from Sir John.
Am I right, my brother? Okay, all right.
Okay, last one. Ignoring gut feelings.
Oh wow. Ooh. I feel like women have the best intuition. So tell me about this.
I'm guilty of it.
Okay.
But every time I ignore my gut feeling,
Yeah.
it always comes back. And it's always like, Brooke, you knew this. You had the feeling that this was off. And you
Okay.
did it anyway, and you ignored your gut feeling. And now look where we are.
What does it show up as? What does a gut feeling show up as?
I think with people, I feel like I can maybe it's like, oh, you know what? Like, take a chance on this person. Like you don't feel 100% like secure with them,
Okay.
but like they seem nice enough. And you kind of let them in,
Right.
and then they show you that, like, yeah, actually, you shouldn't have trusted them in the first place.
Okay. And not to sound like a therapist,
Yeah.
but my therapist says, so, when you're sensing it, is it in here? Is it in the belly?
It's in my like physical body.
That's your spirit. That's
that
true
I feel-
intuition. That's true intuition.
And you know what I also think? I think when people aren't comfortable with themselves, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Have you ever been around someone that you just feel it's like your discomfort with yourself is making now I feel awkward and like uncomfortable because it's like you're uncomfortable, so now I feel uncomfortable.
But that's science. You know
Right,
that
right.
there's a word for it.
Transitive property, energy transfer. I don't know.
Transmuting energy. And so we're like the 5 people that we see, or you're not aligned in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, and I know you want to wrap soon, but I want to ask you that question that you asked me. What do you do when someone crosses your boundary? How do you like handle it? And also in different ways, because you're kind of in so many different pockets now.
Mm-hmm.
So teams, like, and when you want to push the teams in the best way, or when you are not liking what your girlfriends are doing, like, what does it give?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to motivating people in teams, it's like understanding not everyone has the same motivations. Not everyone wants what you want. Not everyone approaches the work the way that you approach the work. So really understanding on like an individual level what motivates people. And I think if you're working with a team, you really do have to like take the time to get to know your team members.
True.
It obviously takes a lot of time to do like one-to-ones with like every single person that reports to you. But for me, it's really important because it's like, I need to know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
I've heard that there are 2 types of people. There are people that are like, we need to be friends first, and then we need to like do the work together. And then there are the other type of people that are like, if we don't get the work done together, then we can't be friends. Like if you're letting me down on the work front, then like we're not cool.
Okay.
And then some people are like, we need to be friends first to then like get the work done.
Yeah.
Which one do you think you are?
So I'm a little bit of I'm so cool. Like, I don't want to say this, like I'm so cool, but like I'm so like open and engaging to people, and they have fun with me, so that I find myself in places where I have to then lean in and actually, like, I know that you like me and we're friendly.
Yeah.
But
But like also where are the deliverables?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I wish I had more of a boundary on.
Yeah. I think I want to relate on like an interpersonal level, but I would say my approach is more like let's like get to the work.
You have a layer. No, I'm keeping it up. I'm keeping it buck. I'm keeping it serious. You have this layer where, guys, my Naked Beauty team, let me tell you something about Brooke. So we were cool, but then she and I love this. It's really amazing for women to be like this in general. We were cool, and then I had more access to her as a human. And then I realized, we're really cool. I thought we were really cool.
Yeah.
And then I felt more like family.
Yeah.
So
I feel the same way.
But that's safety. It's like, it's
Yes.
like a bridge.
It comes back to what we were saying at the top. It's like people earn more and more access to you.
Yeah,
like your authentic self isn't like level 1. That's not like the ground floor. Like, hi, I'm here, me and my authentic self. That's like, that comes with like time, and that's certain people that get access to that.
I got to do that work then, because that's not working for me, and I'm the opposite. So I guess I'm too open day one. I'm so open day one that that's a really good lesson for me.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk about our higher selves.
Okay.
To round this episode out. Okay. Let's do a lightning round.
I like it.
Okay. Your higher self wakes up and does.
I open all the drapes. That's my ceremonial thing. You'll hear all the drapes open as soon as my feet hit the ground. I need as much light to flood in the house as possible.
Beautiful. Your higher self does not tolerate.
Ooh, any form of disrespect, any form, like it could be any form, but I have a very minimal patience for it. And I know the dark side of myself, and I just don't want to. I don't like him as much anymore. So I got to put him on the shelf.
Yes, yes. Okay. Your higher self's beauty, wellness, skincare non-negotiable is
Needles, and I would say sleep when I can. But no, honestly, my non-negotiables. I have a cabinet full of Chinese herbs and like for the basic it would be chlorophyll on all the way up to dried ants I eat and
you're eating dried
well
ants?
they're in a capsule form.
Okay.
Polyrhacus
This is
ants.
news to me.
They have the highest bioavailability of zinc
Have you
known to
been
in any living mechanism. So if you want to keep your face together for a long time, zinc is going to be the thing that's going to even help the collagen production. So I have a cabinet I go to, and it's like death becomes her times 50
Wait, have you been taking encapsulated dried ants for
for
our
about
entire friendship and you just
for
haven't
about
been telling
for
me?
about 12 years.
Okay. Thanks thanks
Among
for
other
putting me
things.
on.
And she legit is amazing too. It comes from like the base of mountains, but it's folic. It's the most mineral dense thing you can consume. And so when you have she legit and you take a CoQ10, it's almost like Pac-Man. They go together and they increase each other's effective nature. So yeah, a
Amazing.
little. We're always going to go to the beauty somehow.
Yes, yes. Okay, and your higher self's life philosophy is
My highest life philosophy, I would say, is do I have a philosophy? I would say just rock steady. Aretha.
love it, love
Yeah.
it. And when are you feeling most beautiful lately?
Oh man, when I feel most beautiful lately is I feel most beautiful when and this is I'm gonna sound like a sucker, but if you guys listen to me, I kind of thread this all the time through the conversation. When I get love from the people I love, when like with my friends, when I know I'm loved, it makes me feel so good.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, I could sit here and talk to you
forever.
until
Yeah, the cows come home.
the cows
Yeah,
come home. It's always an honor to have
thank
you
you, sis.
on Naked Beauty. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh my
And
god.
like, I know, I love that we can just like catch up like this.
Yeah, and
We need to do our like actual drinks for
yeah,
real catch up.
I'm Friday. I'm down. Also, your husband's probably spinning. And he can make pizzas. He's an
Exactly.
amazing DJ, guys.
He is.
He's
He
an amazing
is.
DJ.
And I love that every time we talk, even though I feel like I know so much about you, I learn new
Oh,
things. I hear stories I haven't heard
that's babe.
before. You inspire me in new
Thank you.
ways. So,
And I love the Naked Beauty planet because you guys still comment and tag me
yes,
and shit.
listen, we
Like
love you.
it's amazing. But okay, go team. I love
Amazing.
you.
Love you.